You guys remember how those giant tax cuts for corporations were supposed to create jobs? I mean, you know, all these different companies were like, we're going to now create so many jobs. There's going to be jobs everywhere. They're going to be falling out of everybody's ass. So we're going to have jobs everywhere, right? As long as we get these tax cuts passed, you're going to have jobs. Well, what happened? Where were the jobs? Look, AT&T and Comcast, a couple of the companies promised to create more jobs if Trump signs the tax cuts. Well, he had signed the tax cuts, and they're going to go into effect. So what happened? Well, according to Ars Technica, Comcast had just fired about 500 salespeople before Christmas. So let's talk about having a happy holiday, right? Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're in America now. It's a Merry Christmas, right? So these 500 employees get fired right before Christmas. Well, you know, so much for the holiday spirit, right? And if that's not bad enough, they actually tried to keep these firings secret while they lobbied for the corporate tax cuts. Now, that is pretty bad, right? Now, how did they try to keep this secret? Well, the people that were fired, in order to get a severance package, they were forced to sign a nondisclosure agreement. The Philadelphia Inquirer revealed the Comcast firings this week in an article based on information from an anonymous former employee, Comcast documents, and other sources inside the company. The former employee who talked to the Inquirer could not be identified because of a non-disclosure agreement as part of a severance package. The Inquirer headline notes that Comcast was able to implement the firings quietly, avoiding all press coverage until this week. So let me lay this out here. So they fired these 500 people. They had been planning on firing these people all the time, privately. However, publicly, they're saying, no, we're going to do more investment. We're going to create more jobs. We're going to hire more people if you get these tax cuts. Well, you got your tax cuts. Now what? They knew all along that they were going to take that tax cut and basically put it back into their pockets. That's the whole point. Ours asked Comcast if all 500 employees had to sign those waivers, but did not receive an answer. But they also asked why the firings were necessary, given that the tax cut was supposed to create more Comcast jobs. Finally, they asked if Comcast has specific plans to create jobs in other areas. I'm going to give you part of their statement. They said, periodically reorganize groups and employees and adjust our sales tactics and talent. This change in the central division is an example of this practice and occurred in the context of our adding hundreds of frontlines and sales employees' jobs. All these employees were offered generous severance and an opportunity to apply to other jobs at Comcast. Oh, it's okay, guys. They got a generous severance and they're able to apply for a new job. No, they weren't moved somewhere else and were given a job, moved, to another place to do another job. No, they were given the opportunity to apply. Wonderful. So that means they basically have to give up seniority, benefits, and likely pay raises. How generous is Comcast? But Jeff, you don't understand. They didn't have to give them a severance package. No, you know what this package is? This was hush money. That's what this is. They thought, okay, it's the holidays. It's almost Christmas. We've been lobbying really hard for these gigantic tax cuts. The PR is going to look really bad if we fire these people while we're simultaneously saying that if you give us these tax cuts, we're going to create more jobs. I know. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to give them a severance package, but we're going to tie it to an NDA. Shut your mouth so we can lie about tax cuts. That's the whole point. Now, obviously, this is super gross. More details. Now, the firings happened around December 15th, and on December 20th, Comcast announced that because of the pending tax cut and recent repeal of net neutrality rules, it would give special bonuses of $1,000 to more than 100,000 employees and invest more than $50 billion in infrastructure over the next 5 years. Comcast said at the time, with these investments, we can expect to add thousands of new direct and indirect jobs. Well, okay, $50 billion, right, in investment, because of net neutrality being repealed and because of the tax cuts. Well, no, actually, that $50 billion was already set to be invested. According to the article, Comcast's annual investments already soared during the 2+ years that net neutrality was on the books. And the $50 billion amount could be achieved if those investments simply continued increasing by a modest amount. They were already investing. And yet they come around and they basically lied to your face and said, we're going to invest this money only if we get these tax cuts. Or because of these tax cuts, we are now investing when you plan on investing the entire time. And that's also why you wanted to keep these 500 firings quiet. That's the problem here, right? I mean, look, they kept it quiet because do these 500 fired employees look like investment? No, of course not. And on these employees, let me tell you who they were. They were managers, supervisors, and direct salespeople in Chicago, Florida, and other parts of Comcast's central region, mostly in the Midwest and southeastern United States. Now, the salespeople are generally the people that I think are lowest paid. Now, when Comcast announced the firings internally, the employees were told that a new direct sales system requires fewer humans. The fired employees told the Inquirer. Now, look, companies, yes, eliminate positions they no longer need all the time. Technology gets better. It does usually require fewer people. I understand that. So they're going to eliminate these positions anyway. My problem is the fact that they lied about it. They not only lied to the public, but they lied to their own workers. These workers did not see that coming. In the article, they included a couple of personal stories. One employee kept holding his head and saying, "I can't believe it. I can't believe it." Another one was worried about how he was going to find new health care coverage. And a third employee was close to purchasing a new home and had feared the personal income hit. So, look, Comcast, it's fairly obvious that they lied to all of us. Oh, don't worry, we're going to create more jobs, we're going to invest more if we have those tax cuts. They didn't actually do that. And when are you guys going to understand that cutting corporate taxes does not necessarily mean creating jobs? It never has, it never will. In fact, Comcast is even looking at laying off even more people. 405 employees are being laid off from a single facility in Atlanta and moving other employees from the facility to different sites, according to the Atlanta Business Chronicle. Comcast told the paper that impacted employees are being encouraged to apply for more than 180 open similar positions in Metro Atlanta, as well as jobs some elsewhere in the company. Comcast apparently estimated that the layoff will impact 290 people or jobs in a notice filed with the Georgia state government. Well, okay, if it impacts, let's say it impacts 290 people. 290 people lose their job. Oh, don't worry, we have 180 open jobs. Similar positions in Metro Atlanta. Well, not only do these people now have to move, but guess what? Not all these people get to get their jobs back. They're going to have to find different jobs. That's what's going on here. In the end of the day, people are still going to end up losing their jobs. When again, they claimed that getting rid of net neutrality and giving these gigantic corporate tax cuts was actually going to create jobs. Again, they lied to us over and over again. And Comcast is not the only company. AT&T claimed that it would invest another $1 billion because of the tax cut, and said that research tells us that for every $1 billion in capital investment in telecom creates about 7,000 good jobs for the middle class. That's what they claim. Now what? AT&T, it turns out, they're actually laying off thousands of employees now that they got their tax cut. It doesn't work. It is a lie. It is not going to trickle down on you. What it does is that it trickles right back into their pockets. That's the problem with tying tax cuts to job creation. It does not work. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.